Are you ready to listen to a podcast?
Here comes the Playhouse Podcast, thanks to Bradshaw and Bryan Law Offices.
Find, subscribe, and listen.
Mandy has been gracious enough to wait on hold to tell everybody what's been going on. And this is your son, right?
My son, he just started school recently. He's 9 years old.
Okay.
And he got some new shoes. You know, you do your school shopping, you get a new wardrobe. He got some new shoes, and he was really proud of them. And he went to school. And there was this kid that he's had in previous years, and he thought that he wasn't going to be in his class, and it turns out he actually is. And he's kind of a bully, specifically to my child. And it's not like my kid is a nerd or anything. He has friends, and he's you know, likable guy.
Even if he was a little nerdy, he shouldn't have to worry about that at school.
Thank you. Exactly. It should be a safe space. But yeah, so this kid just picks on him, and of course he sees his new shoes and he stomps on his shoes.
Yeah.
And my son, we've been working on standing up for ourselves, and so he pushed him off of him. Apparently that's a problem with the school, because now they want my child to apologize, or there are going to be some sort of repercussions, and I'm against it. You know, I'm really proud that my child, being that he was picked on by this kid, finally stood up for himself.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like he started it. The kid stomped on his shoes. So he provoked him in the first place. I understand that there are better ways to handle confrontation, but essentially if you're poked and prodded for so long, you can't be upset with how someone responds.
Yeah, and it sounds like it was just like one of those reflexes, like someone's on my foot, I'm going to push them off, and he ended up getting pushed to the wall. Normally, JJ and I are on opposite sides of like every topic, but I feel like I don't think I would make my kid apologize.
Same.
I feel like I would go in and say, having him apologize means he is owning up to maybe a situation that he started and he didn't.
Right.
And there are so many different like parenting tools that, I mean, I've been reading up on just mainly because of this situation.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, if you force a child to apologize for something that they didn't do, it causes a people pleaser mentality. And I'm not trying to raise a child that is going to go around people pleasing other people and just squelching whatever, you know, instinct that they have within them, especially if it's on track with what's normal.
Right.
Like you said, if someone is stomping on your foot, you're going to push them off.
Here's the deal. I know it'll be an unpopular opinion, but I'm of the nature that if you're pushed, you push back. If somebody does something to you, you defend yourself. I know it's not the way things are anymore. You're supposed to go tell somebody. I just was never raised that way, and I don't believe it's the solution in the long run.
There's really no way of this kid proving, though, that the kid purposefully stomped on his brand new tennis shoes. All they see is that somebody pushed another student against the wall.
It's not a hospital visit. Like, they didn't have to call in the National Guard. This is a push.
That's true, but they also want to set a precedent. I get why they would want an apology for this kid, but I just don't know if I could look at my kid in the eye and know that you know, he did it as self-defense.
I'm at the point where if this means my child's going to be suspended for a little while, that's fine. I'll keep him at home.
We had gotten a text from her. I said, well, my kid got some new kicks, and I think he'd be pretty upset if this happened to him as well. So her son went to school, 9 years old, went to school, and ended up getting in the classroom with a kid that he has not had the best track record with. A kid's kind of a bully. And evidently this other child stomped on her son's new shoes, and in an instant like reflex, he pushes him against the wall. And now the school wants him to apologize to the kid that stomped on his brand new shoes. Or if he doesn't, then it goes on his record for the year, which, you know what, I'd be okay with. It's not going to not get him into Yale. You know, it's.
Yeah, when you were 9, you pushed a kid. We can't take you here at Harvard.
When you're 9 and it goes on your record, the world is over, you know.
No, it ain't.
But it's also setting a dangerous precedent to say sorry for things that you shouldn't be sorry for.
Yeah.
So you and I very rarely agree on stuff like this, but I don't know if I could.
I'm okay with pushing back on this. Marina, thoughts?
I think that I just have to completely agree with you guys because I think schools are so nowadays like wanting to push things under the rug and just apologize for it.
Yeah.
And I just I have kids now, and when they get older, I am not going to raise them that way. I mean, I feel like I was raised the same way, and it's just, you stand up for yourself, especially when they're doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just,
that's
I don't know.
kind
I
of
would not have my child apologize.
my mission right now for raising Liam is like just to make sure that he knows to always stand up for what he feels. You know, I never do that.
Absolutely.
And I just started having to tell my 37-year-old self to not care about people that are not going to affect your life. You know, like care about the people that add to your life. But
yes,
don't let others affect you. I need to hammer that home because I can't have him start later on in life like I did. So good. Start young with that.
Thanks, Marina. Have a great morning. I really appreciate it. How's Allie feeling today?
Great. How are you guys?
Good. Really good. Thanks. What do you think about this? Would you make your son apologize just to get it done with and over with, or would you have him stand up to this action?
Well, I've had a personal experience myself with a bully, and as a parent, I would stand with my son and I would, make him not apologize.
Yeah.
Because I have to stand up for my child, and how are they going to learn to stand up for themselves if we're not teaching that?
Yep.
Because my daughter was in preschool, and she was getting punched and bullied by another little girl. Mm-hmm. And I went through 8 months of this. I mean, it was so bad that they were trying to get my daughter for behavioral skills, so special needs, so they could get funding.
No.
I was a single mom at the time.
Yeah.
And so I went through quite an ordeal. And, like, when I would go and join for lunch to see my daughter, this little girl would punch my daughter in lineup for lunch, and I couldn't catch it until the last one. So here was the deal: is that I caught it, and I asked for that little girl to be held off to the side. And so I asked what the stipulations were for this kind of action. They said it was a sit and watch, and I'm like, what? Like, how is that effective?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I asked the teacher, I said, please do your thing, and then I want my moment. Because
I want my moment with this child. They can't allow you to do that. But
so what was the result out of all of this? What was the final, outcome?
Well, see, here was the thing. So the teacher aide stood there, and I looked at the little girl. I mean, I was just so mad because here my child is going up for behavioral skills and special needs. So I looked at the little girl who's sitting in her chair watching me, and I said, listen, the next time you punch or hit or create any injury towards my daughter, I will call the cops.
Whoa.
So when you go home tonight, ask your parents what a police record is.
There's no way I would make my child apologize.
yeah, don't you feel like it's just going to set a trend for their whole life if, someone else does something? They're like, I'm
not just that. It's just that I don't want the point where the victim has to apologize to the person attacking them. I've always told my kids, do not start fights, but please finish them.
Caitlin, if I told you that our Wheatstone blade is having issues, so our next gen won't talk to our affiliates through TrueCast, would you have any idea what we were talking about?
No.
All right. So
it is Greek to a lot of people, and I get it. There are weird terms.
That's us talking worky to you. So what I was thinking about is this could be kind of fun. I want you to talk worky to us. Use jargon that is only probably used in your profession, and we've got to try and figure out what you do. So go ahead, talk worky to us.
Okay. Yeah, my Friday was super busy. I had 6 tops and 4 tops.
Oh, you're a
waitress.
Yep.
I'm a bartender.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, we're kind of close.
Different.
So explain that for anyone that was listening and has no idea what your 4, 6, and 8 congratulate tops thing was.
What'd you say?
Yeah, just tell us what you said, basically. Can you dumb it down for us?
Okay, so 4 tops, so it's like 4 tables with 4 people at it.
Okay.
There you go. And a 6 top, let me guess, 6 people at it.
Exactly.
Is there a certain
my
amount,
God.
like when I was a waitress, a 6 top like worked in gratuity automatically? Is that the case with you, or do you have to wait for them to? work it out?
Usually, like at my bar that I work at, it's 10 people and over that I add gratuity on. But usually we don't say like a 10 top. Usually it's like we say, oh, there's 10 people with like an eye roll.
Yeah.
Usually that's how it's
An eye roll.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I love it. Hey, I'm going to play your song here in a second, but I appreciate you checking in this morning.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Hurry up. I got time for one more real quick. If you want to talk worky to us, see some of these texts that are coming in.
I am. Let me read Tara's because this one caught me off guard. Are you ready for that brush and blow today? I would venture.
Who says no to that?
You are a beautician
I would
or
say
hairstylist.
Yeah.
Yep.
What else?
This one can't call, but hey, I've had those Da Vinci arms soaking in enzymatic. Is that how you say it?
Enzymatic, yeah.
Enzymatic for 20 minutes. I said, what are you? Sterile processing technician. Clean surgical instrument.
I would never have known that.
What are Da Vinci arms in the surgical world?
Is that the what we call the salad spoons when you go in to have your baby? Is that called a Da Vinci arm? Or forceps?
Those are forceps.
But is that the real name for them?
Da Vinci arms.
It's going to pull up Mona Lisa's picture, isn't it?
Or something else. I've seen some movies that start this way. Oh, Da Vinci arms are like a multiple tool. You know how the Da Vinci arm painting had all those arms with the different. I don't frickin' know.
Let's say the radio station got sold today. We all got blown out. You could move to any city. You could take your family and transplant them into any city in the United States. Mm-hmm. Which is the one you are least likely to move to? The place you would never, ever move if you had a choice?
Probably New York, New York.
The place most people will not want to go? Mm-hmm. L.A.
L.A. is not bad. Depends on where you go.
L.A., San Fran, and New York because of the insane cost of living and the driving factor.
Yeah, I would say the homeless population taking over. I mean, if there is a crew called the Poop Crew in a city where I would have to move,
those guys make more than we do. You know that?
I do, and they should. If they're going to go around and pick up people's poop because people are pooping in the streets of San Francisco, you get my salary and yours.
Is your immediate thought on that, though, like, if you are going to poop in the street, what are you wiping with?
I wonder that sometimes in the bathroom here, like when people go potty and leave it yellow, it's like, this is not your house. You flush, but where's the toilet paper? And who was in here?
By the way, if you could move to any state, what would it be? We get blown out today. You're going to pick up your family and move to any state. Where are you going?
Where am I going? Probably might be unpopular, but I'm going to say Chicago.
Florida's, that's not a state.
Oh, you said state?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you said city. Probably Illinois then. Live in one of the villages.
Florida's number one. Illinois not in the top 10. By the way, the most desirable city is Virginia Beach. Seattle, San Diego in there as well.
Florida's just like a crotch. It's just so uncomfortable.
I was wondering what word you were going to use to describe that.
I could go many places like hot and
I sometimes think we take it for granted how great it is. It's going to be 80 degrees today in the middle of September in Minnesota, and you're going to blink your eyes and you're going to have your snow pants on.
I know.
And you're going to be wearing 7 layers.
But I don't care. I love that. I live for the changes. Like, why would you want to live somewhere where there are no changes? You know where I could handle? I could probably handle Maine, Rhode Island. I could do that.
The best part is we've kept this such a good secret in Minnesota that people don't want to move here because they don't know about it yet.
Good.
So shh. I don't want to get overly personal here, but when did you get your first bra?
That is, and it took too long, man. Look at me now. I am a fully budded rose, but listen to this little girl. This little girl was me back in the day.
Why are you crying? What do you want?
I want a bra.
I just want a bra. My sister had one before I did, and right now it's like you don't know if she's walking at you or walking away.
So mean.
And I'm like, how did she get a bra before I did? But
I just remember the girls in elementary school, if they had a training bra, they got picked on heavy.
They did? That's so sad.
Guys were really, really bad about it.
So I'm going to lift the curtain for you, okay? And I don't know if you know some of these terms, but like before, when a girl starts to develop, those are called breast buds. So it's
wait, what?
It's like before they're boobs, they're like breast buds. And that's when you introduce your daughter, so she's not embarrassed and she doesn't have a t-shirt on and they look weird. That's when you get her like one of those really tight like sports bras or training bras or whatever. And I remember my sister had...
It's a clinical term, breast buds?
A breast bud, yeah. It's like right before they develop into breast. Doesn't it make sense? A breast bud?
I don't know. There's
bud.
no like junior testicles, so I don't know. It's hard for me to follow along here. I know we highlight your husband's sobriety on Sober Day.
Yes, 17 years.
I thought it was 18.
Maybe we're heading towards the 18th year.
Regardless, I remember hiring Derek, and he was so open and upfront about this because I'm meeting with him, and we're having lunch and pizza. I'm like, you want a beer? I'm gonna have a beer. He's like, no, you're good. And then he said, no, I've been sober for a while. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He goes, it doesn't bother me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't bother him, but there are certain situations where I just know, I just know that it's not going to be fun for him. It's going to give him a little bit of anxiety. It very rarely happens. But he's very open and honest about it. People always say, like in Cancun, man, how many drinks has that guy had? I'm like, he's
None.
naturally like that.
Yeah.
He has had water with some Mio in it. And I'm very lucky to have someone so spunky that is not, encouraged by alcohol and just like has a great time. But I do know that it's hard sometimes for him. So,
it has to be. I mean,
yeah.
it's a challenge and it's all around. Kristen, on Sober Day, are you the one that's been sober for a while?
I've been sober for going on months this Saturday.
Say that again. Your phone cut out just a little bit. You've been sober how long?
6 months on Saturday.
Congratulations.
6 months on Saturday. So what are you sober from? So Derek's sober from alcohol. What are you sober from?
Meth.
Meth. Okay. And how did you get hooked on to that? Because as like just an average person, I wouldn't even know where to go to find meth today if I had to.
Yeah, it's I followed the wrong crowd of people and was just kind of looking to belong somewhere to a group, and it was not the right choice. It was crazy, the crazy almost 5 years I spent out.
So what would you say to somebody right now that's listening to this and they're struggling with any kind of addiction? What kind of support or words of encouragement could you give them?
I mean, you got to give it a chance. It does get better, but it takes time. And a lot of us are really interested in instant gratification, which is, why we found ourselves using and to escape. But, when you work through the problems and you put the time in, they say that if you try as hard to stay sober as you did to get high, then, you're going to make it.
Good call.
Which is true.
What was the tipping point for you? Like, do you remember the moment where you're like, I'm getting sober?
It was just a lot of interpersonal, relationship issues I was having with friends, family, my significant other, and I was losing a lot of things too. I had to give up so many things, and it was hard. And I think just over a period of time, I decided to finally give it a shot and give it a go. And this has been the best 6 months that I think I've had, mental health wise too, which is an important part. So you got to pay attention to all those.
You get going today. What keeps you sober today? What are you thinking about to make sure that you don't use?
Everything that I've got and everything that I've built from the ground up is just 100% better.
Good for you. This is inspiring. Thank you, Kristen. Keep up the journey. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take
It takes
care.
so much courage to call a radio station and admit that.
Hey, there's a couple 100,000 people who are going to hear my story right now.
It's your day, essentially. It's Sober Day. Lisa texted, 13 years sober from alcohol. I lost my daughters for 3 years, got them back with a lot of hard work and a lot of support from my sister. So you have that one person pushing you. They love you. They want to see better for you. So hopefully a lot of people have that around them.
Monica, how you feeling?
I'm feeling fabulous.
Good. How long have you been sober?
30 years.
30 years. Wow.
So, I still consider myself an addict because it's a lifelong challenge. I was a heroin addict and a coke addict.
Okay.
Then I fell off the wagon twice trying to get sober. And somebody told me, a very special person told me, who no longer is alive, but told me that until you can love yourself and stop blaming everybody else, you'll never be successful. And I have to tell everybody out there that getting sober is the hardest thing you will ever do in your entire life. but you do have to love yourself and not blame whatever you're running from. I was running from stuff and terrible things that happened to me, but I still made the choice to get high. And until I could deviate what I needed to heal from versus getting high and making the wrong choices, you have to address those issues within yourself, and you have to take yourself out of the whole entire group of people that influence you to get high. You have to go solo. I went solo for 12 years to get sober. Had no friends, fought the battle myself, went to all of my weekly classes, sometimes 3 times a week, and listened to other people's stories, and it helps. But at the end of the day, you still have to choose to love yourself and not do that to yourself. And that's the ultimate thing. And it's been 30 years for me. I still struggle with it. When I'm in the store, I can smell it sometimes when people are high, and I've left stores before. Just like, nope, I'm not dealing with this. I'll come back another day.
Do you have any other triggers that happen aside from obviously smelling it?
Yep, stress. Stress is a big one, because usually, like, my life fell apart. So obviously I had to build my life back up. I didn't finish school. I had to figure out what I was going to do with myself, get a job, all those things of life. But It is possible. And when you get to a success, you will feel so good because you did that yourself. And don't worry about the grand scheme of things. Take each step as a success and use all of the successes as a building tool. I have 6 successes this year. I'm doing great. Don't worry about what everyone in society is doing or expects of you.
What are you doing for a job? You need to do this for a job.
You're great at this. I'm so inspired.
I have actually tried to get into this, and I didn't have any inlets to get into it. So I just kind of help people that I encounter along life. I actually work in the medical field now, and it's crazy because I've actually done rehab, and I've been very successful at it. And I'm going to be honest, it is the hardest thing you'll ever do. But at the end of the day, it's your success. Only yours.
For you.
And
we needed you.
Need to remember.
We needed you on for this part of the show because it is not only to point out the fact that it's such a big feat to be sober and from so many different things, but that there's so much life to live for. So thank you for your message.
Here's to another 30 years, Monica.
Let's begin now.
Can I get the first good morning?
Sure.
Good morning to everybody. Knowing that this is your guilty pleasure.
Us?
Our dopey show. Here's what I've realized over the course of the last couple of months and coaching high school football. I get more and more middle-aged men and young men that come up to me and be like, they ask questions about the show. And then they don't want to admit that they listen to the show.
Why?
Because you got to remember, a radio station that plays the music we play is supposed to be young females.
Yeah.
We got a ton of middle-aged dudes that love the morning show. And I just want to say, emancipate yourself, guys.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Be proud.
It's okay to admit that you listen to the show because we kick ass.
Tell everyone at your meetings on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Say, listen, we can tell people now.
So a special good morning to Jamie and everyone else who is a closet case listener to this show. Let's go.
I like it.
How was your day yesterday?
It was good. It was just kind of going through the motions, ran some errands, and then we had football last night, and I'm happy that my kid is loving the start to school. Some kids aren't as lucky. We will have a mom on today that hopefully we can help her out with what happened with her kid. Already having to deal with a call from the principal. Early in the year to
be dealing with this stuff.
I know. This one, though, I feel like I'm on her side. So we're going to chat with her later on. But he was talking about how now in 5th grade, they go from their main class to 2 different classes, to math and then to science and social studies. And I was like, that's cool, getting you prepared for 6th grade. And he was just like, yeah, I feel like I try harder because I know I have limited time. And his math teacher is my friend Courtney, who I've known, Courtney and Adam, since I was like 22. And he goes, you know how hard it is for me to not say Courtney? And
right. That's difficult.
Ms. Backus. So yeah, he's really loving 5th grade. And like when your kid loves where their life is at, makes life better. So
obviously I'm fighting this cold. I feel like today I'm going to get past the tipping point.
Yeah.
But I decided I got to get something like a cough suppressant.
Yeah.
And so I rolled up to Quick Trip this morning, got gas, ran in, grabbed an energy drink and a couple of bags of cough drops.
Yeah.
On my way out, dude goes, tell Kat I said hi.
Oh, good. Was it
didn't
James?
reference. I don't know who the guy. He was like 2 aisles away.
Oh, sure.
And at first he'd kind of made eye contact with me. And he's like, beef jerky at 4 a.m. Good idea or not? I go, dude, what is going on? He goes, well, I've been here all night.
Yeah.
I said, you're on a different stomach path than I am.
Yep.
And he goes, tell Kat I said hi. And I was like, didn't recognize me once. Just you.
Did it look like an ex?
No, he looked like a guy you've taken advantage of and stolen coffee from, and where you just take a cup of coffee or whatever out of the cooler and go, I'm Kat, and then you walk out.
That is blatant stealing. I do not do that.
You're telling me you've never poured
coffee out of the hot coffee canister.
And then just walk out.
I don't.
On your celebrity. You look at me in the face.
They'll do like a wink, like, it's
tell
all
me
yours,
you've never
girl.
gone into a gas station, poured a cup of coffee, and walked out without paying.
I will not.
Tell me that.
Well, okay, like just walking out without making any acknowledgement
go,
that
I'm
I'm
Kat.
doing it. Okay.
God, who does this? When you first had Liam, was he a little colicky?
No.
No? Good baby?
Yeah, for the most part. Well, he did have some breathing issues. That's why my mom calls him Wheezy Wangs.
That's...
So,
when your kid has a touch of asthma and your grandma is calling you wheezy, how do you feel about that?
that's Jen for you. That's Nana.
If you have a tough time stopping your baby from crying, this is the day you've been working for.
Okay.
Science has finally figured out the formula to get a crying baby back to sleep. No joke. Here it is. After years and years of research, the best way to get a crying baby back to sleep. Now, if they're colicky, that's like a medical condition, right? It's a little bit different. But the way to get your crying baby back to sleep involves 2 steps. I want you to listen very closely. If you're a new mom, a new dad, step 1, carry them around for 5 minutes. Get them out of the crib, hold them close, walk around for 5 minutes. It's best if you can get out of the nursery or the room that they sleep in. Walk around for 5 minutes. It'll slow their heart rate down within 30 seconds when they get into that panic cry.
Yeah.
Right? And they're
But
screaming.
now they have
for
mom
something.
or dad, so they're comfortable. Okay.
It calms them down faster than rocking them. That's why they say you get up and walk around. So that's step 1, carry them around for 5 minutes. Step 2, sit down and hold them for another 5 minutes. So be patient. They might wake up, but in 5 to 8 minutes, they will likely be back to sleep.
Okay.
There it is. I mean, and I'm sure you've probably tried it, and maybe you didn't wait out that extra 5 minutes, and you tried something else. Instead of giving them a bottle or their nookie or whatever else, this is now scientific that you can.
That sounds like BS. I remember we had a coworker who would come in just like bags under his eyes because his kids got croup all the time. You remember that? And they would do the steam shower. Then he'd run outside when it was 40 below, and then he'd stick their head in the freezer. I'm just like, oh my God. Thankfully, we never had to deal with that.
But if you're new mommy, new daddy, there it is. You get them out, you get them walking around for 5 minutes, then you hold them and rock them for 5 to 8 minutes. Scientifically, that's your best chance of getting them back to sleep.
I got the email. I got the heads up. I got the text notification. Talk about bringing back their popular Mexican pizza tomorrow. It sold out when it returned last April, and it just flashes me back to freshman year in high school. I think I had maybe all that they ordered. I mean, it was my...
You're the reason they sold out.
Damn, I was. And now it will become a permanent menu item.
Close your eyes then and feel.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
I love that. All right, so we talked about the queen, how she had like 30 corgis at the time of her death. She would always have like at least 6 around her, and now we find out who will be getting them. And she also did some crossbreeding as
And when
well.
she crossbred them with dachshunds, she was credited with creating the Dorgie. At the end, though, the dogs in her company dwindled to just a few. The last are now destined to live with the Duke and Duchess of York.
Be like, thank you. Thanks for all,
Wait, this
all
is
of
it?
these dogs. Appreciate it.
No, you got to also understand the royal family are the largest landowners on the planet.
Yeah.
And
They
you
just
got
let 'em go.
And you got 3 dogs.
Yeah,
Instead of that parcel you really wanted.
I know. The airline industry needs 8,000 new pilots. It's a big news story today. So in order to avoid the mass delays and cancellations that they're currently experiencing, they're at an 11% shortage of pilots. That's very scary. Hopefully they don't rush people through any programs and cut corners, because that would be a big
They're
deal.
offering heavy incentives to people people that were ready for retirement in the airline business.
To stay a little bit
I was just talking
longer.
to somebody about this, and the guy had been in the Air Force and then went to private and worked for a big company.
Yeah.
And he was saying that basically he's getting double his salary of last year to stay for another year.
Give it to
They're
them.
really trying to make sure that these experienced pilots are still able to fly.
Yeah.
As they try and figure out what's going to happen with
Well,
the shortage.
pair them with the ones that are come-uppers, you know what I mean? And then get
Problem
that
is,
real
you
life
need
experience.
so many hours of training to be able to get there, and they're just not going to be able to do it in a year.
That is really scary, especially if you have a trip
So if you're,
planned in
well, I was going to
November.
say, if you're looking, November's going to be all right, but if you're looking into like the mid to later part of 2023 of doing some traveling, expect some shortages, expect prices to go up because it'll be supply and demand.
Scary stuff.
The Playhouse Podcast is made possible thanks to Bradshaw and Bryan Law Offices. Catch the live show weekdays from 5:30 to 9 on 104.7 KCLD. Now, share this with a friend.